Hey, so we are giving you another installment of Birthing with the Browns. Welcome and thank you for joining us. We want to answer the question that we've been asked about what I do, particularly, specifically, to support Shayla in childbirth. So, made a few notes, and there are basically 5 main areas that I try to focus on and that I admonish all fathers to help their wives with. The first one is presence, of course. Now, this is not just being existing in the same space, but we're talking about being very intentional about making your presence felt and known. This can be something as big as like something that you do for your wife as a service or something like that, or it could be something as simple as the way you talk about what she's going through with pregnancy or what you together are going through, making sure that you are talking about everything and really experiencing the process with your wife and not just being there present as she's having a baby. So presence is a very important thing. After that, I think one of the places I really try to focus the most is provisional support. I think that's kind of comes natural to most men in this culture. We feel like we're supposed to be, bringing the bread home, but it's not just again about bringing home a check, but also I do the grocery shopping. I get the supplies that we need for our birth kit, or the supplies that we might need for the way we want to birth, whether that's a pool for a water birth or a stool for a crouch birth or whatever it might be. Trying to, taking that stress off of her mind is a way to allow her to put all of her energy into really fostering a healthy baby on the inside and focusing on this Super Bowl of physical strenuous activity that she's about to come into. So yeah, first is presence, second is provisional support. Then we get into kind of like then we get into domestic assistance. So not only do I bring things home, but then I do things around the home on a higher level than I usually do, because that's something that all men should do. Work out your marriage, work out your marriage how you want to. But I believe that anybody who eats should cook, and I believe anybody who lives in a home should know how to take care of one. But I try to step it up when we're pregnant, which has been every day for the last like 5 years. I try to step it up and provide the level of assistance that makes what I know Shayla sees as her main and most important goal, try to make that easier, or sometimes just relieve her of it, so that on those days when she just can't, or those days when just the stresses of other external things about our life are interfering, that she can just focus and kind of recoup and rebuild. You want to say something?
Yeah. I guess that was pretty big, because you just feel like that's your obligation. And I think the frustrating thing about being pregnant is that it's just forced to slow down, and you just can't do as much as you would normally. So it does help to know that you're not expected to, and then not just that well, okay, it's still gonna get done if I can't do it.
Yeah. So we touched on presence, we touched on provisional support and domestic assistance. Those are the ones that I think, hopefully I didn't change your world saying those things. But then you get kind of to the nitty gritty of having a baby, the physical support. So we have here just off screen an exercise ball. I'll let you see it. The exercise ball and our moving boxes and whatnot. We are a busy family right now, but just doing things like that, like helping her on the exercise ball, helping her to stretch, like the other night last week with the Charlie horse, or the other night with the sciatic pain, or whatever it might be. Just doing the things that kind of make the physical aspect of carrying and having a baby a little easier.
Yeah, or just getting the ball. It felt like, him and the boys seemed more adamant about getting the ball than me, so that was nice.
Provisional support.
Yeah, and then when they got it, they all wanted me to get on it, and then he blew it up. So yeah, that's very helpful, very encouraging.
So yeah, My brain is dead and she moved my list. So.
Oh, and also here.
Oh yeah, after physical support is mental support. So you might have heard that pregnant women get the brain fog. You know, they have memory lapses. I feel like I got the fog too, but like I said, we got a lot going on. So when you have the stresses of trying to do this very foolish nuclear family thing that I plan to speak on very soon. Because anyway, when you're trying to do the nuclear family thing, you got a lot of stresses, and the more stress you put on the brain, the more likely you are to start forgetting things or slipping on your execution of certain things. And so the mental support is just helping Shayla remember the things that she already knows, most of which she knows better than me because she actually trained to be a birth worker, to help women have babies. Like she, you know, I did a unit in med school about that, but like she studied that pretty intensively. So these are things that she knows better than I do, but I just try to be there to remind you, hey, you know, if your ankle's swelling, then you know some vegetables might help take that down, or maybe you need some fiber if you're feeling a little constipated.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, what a doula would do.
Daddy doula.
It's pretty much my doula. So it's one thing to be a doula and to support other women, but you know, it's another thing to practice what you preach, and you can't be your own doula as much as you think you can. So it helps to have an in-house doula.
So last but certainly not least, probably most important, at least in the minds of women who are birthing, is the moral support. Just the emotional encouragement and the emotional presence. You know, just being there for what she's feeling. And sometimes, you know, as men, we want to fix everything, but sometimes we just kind of want you to be there for that. Because, you know, there might be times when she don't even necessarily know what she's feeling. She might be going through a thing that she's still processing. So you have the emotional and moral support, which is very, very important because that keeps the peace. The more peace you have, we all know the effects of stress on the body, the effects of stress on the baby are compounded. And not only the physical stress, this boy right on my computer. Not only the physical stress, but the physical effects of the stress. Yeah. But just what it does to the environment of the home. If you have other kids and this is not your first birth, what it does to your relationship with your children, to just the family relationship as a whole. It just makes for a situation where it makes the situation right for postpartum depression, which is something that I think we should speak on because you should speak on because that's very, very prevalent. But when you're having a baby in a stressful environment, then you start to loathe the fact that you're having a baby, loathe the fact that you're a parent afterwards. Yeah. And the thing about being a parent is there are no off days, like you don't get Saturday and Sunday off. Yeah. So it's since it's there all the time, is you want the process of becoming a parent, and this is our 5th child, but we're still becoming a parent again to another person who's never existed. We're becoming a parent. So because you have to treat each of your kids differently, so each child that you have is another parenthood experience, and it never gets old. So if the process of becoming a parent is stressful and tense and we've been there, then once the baby gets here, it just makes it that much harder to thrive. So the emotional support is probably the place I would really, really admonish all husbands out there. If you broke and can't get a job, stop lying. And then if you aren't lying, then at the very least, make sure you hug and make sure you're affirming your wife or your mother of your child. Make sure that you are really emotionally there for her, because that's the part that can make the biggest difference and with the smallest amount of effort. Yeah. So just to reiterate, presence, be there, like actually be there in a very intentional way. Provisional support, bring home what's needed and try to do it without having to ask her every single thing. You know what I mean? Of course, talk to her, but take that off her plate. From domestic assistance. Be what you can be around the house to to just make the home that I'm hoping you're birthing in, if you saw our last video, that much more peaceful and easy to live in. Physical support, be her coach, be her pregnancy trainer, if you will. Mental support, make sure that the unforgettables don't get forgotten, and use your brain to supplement what's happening in her brain. And finally, most importantly, emotional and moral support. Be there for her.
Yeah, and I was just add to that, or it probably wasn't on this point that I missed, but
yeah, that's glass. I'm gonna get that. Talk to you.
But basically, also, know as much as she's striving to know. So if she's learning about birth and learning about the process, you should be learning about it too. It shouldn't be something that she's trying to learn and figure out by herself, because while it's a process she has to do, while she has to do the doing of the labor, you have to do the protecting, especially, in a hospital or out of a hospital, you have to know what's going on too to properly support her. So if you understand the process of labor, you're less likely to freak out, whenever labor is happening, and you're more likely to be able to be a strong, firm foundation for her to stand on, because you have the same knowledge she has about what's happening in her body, and though you are outsider, you're able to encourage her to reach her goals. So like, let's say she wants to have a natural birth or a home birth, and she starts to say things like, I can't do it, because you have the same knowledge, you know that she can do it, and then just getting to the point where you believe that yourself, and you work out whatever fears you have so that you're not projecting them onto her, and you're able to actually encourage her and not let her give up or let her be too discouraged. So yeah, I just want to say that.
Yeah, the protection part is super important. You are the protector, and we're always ready if someone busts through the window or breaks down the door. But what if a white coat is just telling you that everything you thought and planned for is wrong? Are you really ready to protect?
Yeah.
What if your landlord decides that you being a month away from having a baby means nothing, and he still wants you to move right now?
Yeah.
Can you get an extension so that y'all don't have to try to move in 28 days?
Right.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So be ready to protect. That's part of maybe that's another good one. That's another good point. So yeah. We have nothing else.
No, that's it. That's all I got.
Do you have something else?
Yeah.
You got another question? Something we didn't cover? Something you want to know more about? Let us know. You telling us what to tell you helps us out a whole lot. Help us help you. We love the engagement, and we really hope this is helping. So if there's nothing else you got to say, babe, then we'll see you next time. Be good. Have your baby at home. And don't stop until they give justice to Breonna Taylor.
Okay.
Peace.